Well, hello again everybody. How has 2023 been for you? For us, it has been a year of great changes. Now, it's not something I really show on the channel, but one of those big changes has been at work, where we've moved our main manufacturing facility from one building to another, so that has taken up quite a bit of my time. Now, of course, early in the year, I set out on the journey to get my full motorcycle license, and I did the training with Cam Rider in South Cambridgeshire. It's a very enjoyable experience, if a bit of an expensive one, and yeah, passed my test and are now riding around on a full-size motorcycle as opposed to the little 125cc Mutt. The first full-size motorcycle I brought was, of course, the Suzuki VS700 Intruder, and I actually bought that before I passed the full test, and of course that was kept at Chaz's house for a little bit while we did some work on it. Now, I did continue to have niggling little problems with the Intruder over the summer, and that combined with the limited time I had to spend on it meant it didn't get as much use as I would perhaps have liked, but I'm reasonably confident I've got it running quite nicely now. The main problem, of course, was that master cylinder, and I did eventually manage to get that solved, although it did take quite a bit of doing. So many thanks to all the people who suggested helpful hints and tips and things that may have been causing that issue. Hopefully now that is permanently fixed. As you might remember, I did get it briefly working well enough to attend the Party in the Paddock event, motorcycle event at the Cross Keys pub near us. So yeah, that was a little taster of the sort of event that might be hopefully attending more of in 2024. Now, because of all this, of course, I had to get myself a more reliable bike to commute backwards and forwards to work. So I got myself the Triumph Street Triple, and you've seen that in a few videos. I haven't done too much on that yet. Be more coming on that in the new year, I suspect. But yeah, that's a fantastic bike, and a bit different really to the Intruder. A different style of bike, different style of riding, but a fantastic bike to commute backwards and forwards to work on. And that purchase was funded, at least in part, by the part exchange of the Mut Mastiff. So unfortunately, we did have to say farewell to the Mut Mastiff earlier on in the year, which was a little bit of a shame. I was quite fond of that bike, but it was definitely time to move on to slightly bigger bikes. It was okay, but on an A road it really wouldn't keep up with the traffic again. So we had a similar problem to what we had with the electric Super Soco bike, and you're not quite to the same degree. So definitely better to be on a bike that can keep up with the general flow of traffic on the faster roads. Now, you might remember earlier on in the year we had a motorhome trip up to Northumberland. We went and saw the holy island of Lindisfarne and all that sort of thing, the lovely big beaches that you get up there. Nikki and I really liked Northumberland, really quite taken with it. But that was the last trip, of course, that we had in our old Eldis AutoQuest 270, built on the Citroen C25 base. Yeah, very sad to see that van go, but of course we did move on to bigger and better things motorhome wise, because of course when we attended what of course was the very last caravan and motorhome show at Peterborough Showground, we saw the Burstner Nexxo T660, which Nikki took a real shine on, and yeah, we had a bit of a discussion while we walked around the show, and we ended up going back and putting a deposit on it. Now, I'm not going to lie, that was a bit of a financial stretch for us. It was a bit more than I'd really anticipated paying for a new van. We had for a while been considering a replacement because of the making up of the bed situation, and Nikki's little health problems were causing us to reconsider really the option of having a fixed bed, and we really were looking for something with a fixed bed, but this really took Nikki's eye. She really did take a shine to it, so it's worth perhaps pulling out a few extra stops to make that purchase. But of course, having made the purchase, we couldn't pick it up for a little while. We had to sell the old Ttxela and we had to get the finances together. But we were very excited to go with young Mia to pick it up from Camper UK up there in Leicester. And yeah, having bought it, of course, we had to make the most of it by getting away as often as we possibly could. And we had a trip down to the southwest where we got as far as Looe and stayed on a lovely campsite overlooking the town and the coast there for a few days. We were visiting some friends in Looe and we had quite a long walk backwards and forwards along the cliffs each day to go down and see them. So we started to really miss having the e-bikes with us. The new motorhome has no bike rack on it and has no tow bar, so we were a bit limited in options for taking e-bikes. We could, I suppose, have put them inside the van, but with a lovely new van we weren't keen on having the sort of dirty, muddy e-bikes rattling around inside of it, bashing against things and stuff. Probably could have protected them and wrapped carpet or something around, I don't know really. But that didn't really seem like something I really wanted to risk doing. So we do have to sort that out in the new year and get the capability to take our e-bikes with us again. Now, one of the problems we had as well was that in the course of doing my full motorbike test, I had used up an awful lot, well not an awful lot, but a fair proportion of my annual leave. So yeah, we're a bit limited, although we wanted to make full use of the van, a bit limited in time that we could do so. So we did our usual thing of having more weekend stays away at CLs and CSs, and we've stayed at some great ones over the course of the year. Some really, really nice CLs and CSs out there. It's probably my favourite way of camping in the van. We're not big wild campers. In fact, we've never actually done any wild camping. Got nothing against it. May well try it at some point. We've not really done much in the way of pub stays. And the big sites, of course, although we have stayed on them, are getting very expensive these days. I understand, of course, they do have to charge enough to cover their expenses, and of course there's a lot of facilities there that are expensive to provide, and the land's expensive and the staff and that sort of thing, but we have to live by our means, and we couldn't afford to travel as often as we do if we only stayed on the big sites. So yeah, definitely a fan of the CLs and CSs. We've tried to make full use of them this year. And of course, over the course of the year, we did lose another regular feature of the channel, and that was, of course, my Toyota Celica. Unfortunately, with two motorbikes, a motorhome, Nikki's car, the Toyota Celica on top of all that was just rather a lot to tax and insure and maintain every year, especially with only two of us in the house. So unfortunately, the decision was made that the poor old Celica had to go. It was a rather reluctant decision on my part. I don't think Nikki was quite so broken up about it. She was never a great fan of the Celica, but yeah, that was bought by a fella who was planning to do the 190 horsepower conversion on it, so convert it from the VVTi engine to the VVT-Li engine, and yeah, hopefully that's at least well underway by now. I did check it on the government website and the registration is no longer found, so he may have put a private plate on it, so I guess I may never know if that makes its way back onto the road, but I don't see any reason why it shouldn't. But yeah, at the moment we're managing with just the one car. I'm commuting on the Triumph course, but on the very, very worst days when it's frosty and there's likelihood of ice on the road, I do either take Nikki's car in or Nikki drops me off at work for the day, then picks me up later. And that's really how we plan to go on. I don't plan on getting another vehicle for myself in the near future. And that brings me on to what's probably the biggest change for us this year, and that is Nikkis' retirement from her foot health business. She's for many years worked for herself as a foot health practitioner, operating at times from a little van, at times from our conservatory, in fact, set up as a little sort of surgery around the back of the house. And yeah, it's become harder and harder for her to do that work again with various sort of little health problems. So she made the decision that at the end of this year she has retired. At the time of filming this, she retired, in fact, a couple of days ago, probably a week or a couple of weeks from the time that you're actually seeing this released. But yeah, very, very recently, Nikki has retired. Now, that, of course, is going to have a financial effect of some sort on us. We're not entirely sure quite how dramatic that will be at the moment, but we're going to keep the motorhome at all costs, and I'm still working, of course. I'm still bringing in a wage, so shouldn't be too bad. And we do have some big plans for next year, and of course we'll be a little less restricted in when we can go away, because we won't have to worry about what Nikki's got booked in client wise. So may even be for more travelling, result in more travelling and more weekends away, simply because we won't have to worry about fitting quite so many things in around it. Fingers crossed anyway. Now, as far as the YouTube channel goes, we've added about 500 subscribers this year. And of course, we're grateful to each and every person who decides to subscribe to the channel. Grateful for everyone who views and likes and comments and all that YouTube type stuff. And yeah, it's fantastic that so many people do enjoy watching our travels and our various other videos, the motorbike stuff and all that sort of thing. But that does represent a slowing down really in growth for the channel. And we're seeing a drop in views and watch time as well. Now, partly I believe that's because I simply haven't been putting out as many videos, or videos that are as long. And of course that makes sense. If videos aren't as long, watch time will go down. Now, that is partly due, of course, to the aforementioned busyness in our lives. We simply haven't got the time to put out as much stuff as I'd like. Generally, I have more videos or video ideas than I'm able to put into execution and get out and published. So there's no shortage of material, but it's just the time to get it out there. Now, got some plans to try and step things up a little bit in 2024, try and make a little bit more of it, and hopefully you'll come along for the ride with us on that. But if not, you know, we do enjoy it. It's all good fun. Very nice to get all the comments and engage with people, and for people to share in our adventures. We get a lot of handy tips and stuff for dealing with some of the issues that we face, particularly on the motorbike repairs and stuff. So yeah, it's all good really, even if we don't see much of an increase in growth next year. But fingers crossed, and yeah, keep watching, folks. So what are our plans for 2024? Well, Nikki wants to get across to Ireland, take the motorhome across to Ireland, and yeah, that sounds like a very nice plan. So we need to start looking at getting that organised, look at ferry costs and stuff. Need to apply for passports, because both our passports are very close to running out. And of course, you have to watch this 10-year validity thing with travelling to the EU, don't you? So yeah, we both need new passports, and we need to book ferries and stuff to make that happen. I've got some more painting projects. I've got another helmet painting project to do, and I've got a few other things that have been hanging around for a while, so I am determined to get back to doing some more painting and airbrushing next year. Now that the Suzuki is running and riding properly, I plan to get out on that a little bit more once the weather clears up in the springtime. Try and get some events on that, some classic bike shows and stuff. That'd be good, wouldn't it? And of course, we'll continue commuting on the Triumph. I would like to get some more hill walking in. We're not going to make the 1,000 step challenge this year unless something very spectacular happens in the next few days, which I doubt. But yeah, I'd like to get up on the hills a little bit more and maybe make the 1,000 kilometres it is we're doing now. The 1,000 kilometre challenge, that's about 660 miles in actual plotted walks. So yeah, going to try a bit harder on that next year. And of course, need to get underground a bit more often as well. We've done very little underground stuff this year. Did manage to get to the mining conference. That was absolutely fantastic. I think 2024 mining conference is down in Cornwall, so I'll be making every effort to attend that and hopefully get some other mine trips in as well. So yeah, a fantastic amount of change has gone on this year, and most of it very, very positive. And of course, we have to look back and consider how fortunate we are, really. We've got a lovely motorhome and lots of trips away, 2 motorbikes, of course. Yeah, we are fantastically lucky, certainly compared to a lot of people who, unfortunately, at the moment are really struggling. I do feel for a lot of people around the country and around the world. It seems like things are in a bit of a state at the moment generally, aren't they? So yeah, hopefully the wider picture will improve in 2024, and yeah, have a good Christmas, a happy new year, and yeah, all the best from us at the channel. We love you all, and we'll see you soon in the next video.